Rev up your engines!
Alexander Steblov says, should I get a Jetta Sportwagen TDI or an Audi A3 Wagon TDI? Both of them are under 100,000 miles in 2012. Well, if you know anything about me, I wouldn't buy either of those. Realize that Volkswagen owns Audi. They have very similar technologies in them, and they are both endless money pits as they age. That said, if you really like them and you can get them cheap enough, and especially if you're in Europe, go ahead. They were cheaper there. They had mechanics that knew how to fix the things. Here in the United States, the Volkswagen and Audi dealers, oh man, do they their customers. It's just they charge way too much money working on them. I've had more customers go to Audi or Volkswagen dealer and be quoted $4,000 of work. They bring it to me and I fix them for like $500. In the United States, they're not good vehicles to have. But in Europe, where people know how to fix them and don't charge as much, they can be okay vehicles, especially if you buy them used and get them cheap. Because I noticed in Europe, used cars are a lot cheaper than they are in the United States because the Europeans don't have this fake book value like in the United States that's overinflated so they can sell used cars for more. They want a lot cheaper in Europe than they do in the United States. So if you can get one cheap enough and you want to get one, go ahead, but don't do it in the United States. Casey Rogers says, hey Scotty, where are all the manual transmissions going? Are there such things as conversion kits? I don't want a Mustang, Camaro, or Challenger. Yeah, well, they're just going away from standard transmissions. The thing is, at one point in time, the standard transmissions got better gas mileage than the automatics. But today, with modern computer-controlled designs, the automatics can actually get better gas mileage than the standard transmissions do. And that's what they're really going for by government laws, especially here in the United States. Go to Europe, you'll see standard transmissions all over the place. But here in the United States, people are getting lazy, they don't like shifting, but a lot of it is technology that they can actually make the automatics get better gas mileage. So everything's computer controlled, and if the transmission is too, it fits in with everything else. And that's why they're doing it, just the way that it's going in our society. Alexander Rangel says, Scotty, could I transfer a 2010 Impala automatic into a manual transmission? Thanks. Well, anything can be done with enough time and money. I have had customers over the past 50 years attempt to do that on modern cars. Ooh-wee, is it a pain in the butt because it's all computer controlled. And then you got to cut a hole for the shifter, and then you got to put on a pedal for the clutch and hook all that stuff up. It is a royal pain in the wazoo. And considering that a 2010 Impala is worth practically nothing, unless you want to do it as a toy to mess around with, I wouldn't bother. It really wouldn't be worth the bother. Now, when I was young, sure, you could swap the transmissions on a Mustang, go from an automatic to a standard. They were simple vehicles. They were easy to do. But with modern cars like that, it's a giant rat's nest if you try to do something like that. Larry Schulin says, I got an '09 Lexus ES350. Had a bad shimmy shake from takeoff to about 60. If it's only if you take off fast, the first thing you want to check are the CV joints and the CV axles. Because if they get worn and they're off balance, when you take off, it's going to shake around a lot. You want to check the front struts, tie rods, ball joints, see if anything is worn. Something you can do yourself, and I see this a lot, is you might just put the front tires, stick them in the back. And if it goes away, you know, either the tires out around or the rims are bent. And if it doesn't affect it that much being in the back tires on those just roll, the front ones do all the work. You can just leave it. I got a lot of customers that have good ones in the front, and they work okay. You might try that yourself first. Oscar Gonzalez says, should I put in a fuel additive for a 1968 Mercury Cougar giving modern fuel types? Okay, here's the thing. That engine was made for leaded gas, and you can get additives for that. It would be a good idea. If you've got the high performance engine that they used in the Mustangs, you'd be best running like Shell V-Power, that's the highest octane gas, and put a little of the lead substitute in, because those engines weren't made for that. Now, some guys, when they really do them over, they'll do the heads over and they'll make the valves so that they don't need the lead to lubricate them. They'll redo the valve seats and spend a whole bunch of money. But if it's all stock, yeah, it's a good idea to do that. Mikey Kelly says, what's the life of a 93 Chrysler Lebaron? Well, if it's still running, it's still got a little bit left. One, they're a weird body style, and you either love them or you hate them, and most people hated them. And then they were also a Chrysler K-car design, and they had lots of problems. I mean, their automatic transmissions were garbage. I had customers that bought the turbo version. All the engines blew up on them. Some people liked them, and if you took care of it and babied them, the big point here is you got to baby the thing. you got to really baby them because they don't take abuse. But if you baby them, they're like anything else. They can last. I got a customer, believe it or not, has a Ford Edsel, and it still runs pretty good because it's his baby and he takes it on the weekend. But, you know, they're not worth anything. They'll never be collector's items. And if you're buying one cheap enough and it still runs, yeah, it might last you a while. Just don't pay much. They're not worth anything.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.